What is up, everybody? I hope you're not getting tired of overpowered video game characters. Today I'll be going over Dante from the Devil May Cry saga, his entire lore, the main reason why he's so powerful. A lot of people have different speculation on what his power is. Some believe his max is mountain level, attack power level. A lot of people believe he's city level. A lot of people believe he's mountain level. There's arguments for people that think he's moon busting level, planet busting level, and there's even arguments that are pretty decently argued for him to be in the universal ranges of power, like Skyfather ranges of power. Like, that's pretty crazy, right? Well, hopefully I will shed some light on some of that stuff, and some of that stuff isn't as far-fetched as you might think, especially the claims of him being in the universal ranges, planet ranges, and all that crazy stuff. I can honestly say I think he's pretty concretely, and lowballing him to the biggest extent of him being city level is actually pretty disrespectful, if I'm being honest at this point. He's one of those video game characters that has a lot of lore and writer intent when it comes to him, especially even if the lore doesn't make the most sense. There's been implications that a lot of the stuff contradicts one another, but evidently it's been kind of concreted that all of it's canon, regardless if it makes sense to the timeline and stuff like that. Yeah, Dante's one of those characters. He's a half demon, half human. He seems like he gets stronger over time, and he's not even that old. Like, his dad was like 2,000 something years old. I mean, he's like, what, 45 years old at the end of Devil May Cry 5. But let's get into it. Devil May Cry Dante. He's one of those characters I consider in the holy trinity of action adventure games for a reason. Like, usually when I consider an action adventure game good or god tier, usually I would compare it to this game saga, the Devil May Cry saga. But let's get into it. How strong is Dante from Devil May Cry, the son of Sparta, the legendary demon that took on the almighty person known as Mundus? Sparta was a mighty demon, obviously, right? Swordsman who is known as the legendary Dark Knight. 2,000 years ago, he woke up to justice and alone defeated this super powerful being known as Mundus, I'm going to talk about later in this video, and his legions, when sealing the netherworld, sensing his power had grown too strong, he intentionally sealed himself along with his demonic power as well. He sealed this stuff into the swords you might know in this saga, known as the ones that Dante and Virgil use, or the legendary sword of Sparta, you know, that sword that you see in Devil May Cry 4 that Trish uses, and quietly reigned the human world and continued to preserve his harmony. Before his death, he resurfaced in the modern day and married Eva, who gave birth to his own twins, sons, Dante and Virgil. And that's why Dante has these amazing genetics. The Devil May Cry saga gets a little wonky sometimes. What's canon and what's not canon, but everything is canon as far as we know. They even have a reboot. He started as a devil hunter at an early age, 17, 18 years old, gets older and even has a manga and an anime. Age didn't really matter much because he has legendary blood inside of him, right? Devil May Cry 3 image of him here, still kind of young, gets a little older, his business, the games are out of order too, so some games will have more stakes than others. Like, some games he's fighting super powerful beings like Mundus and people from back in the old lore. Devil May Cry 4, he pretty much trolled us the whole time. In the latest game, he's actually as old as being at 44 or 40 years old, surprisingly, right? So one could theorize him being at his strongest, which is why a lot of the feats I'm going to show you is him being younger, which is going to make a lot of sense on why his older self should be a lot stronger. Not to mention he actually got a power up in his new form, in his older self, new game. In a lot of my videos, or videos in general, I always talk about how it's important to not only analyze the characters' feats, but you got to analyze the characters they constantly fight in raw power to see if they really do contend with these people in raw power and overall power, because realistically speaking, you can't match a being without being similar power if the gap is astronomically large, right? Like, if you're a planet buster and you're, you know, trading blows with somebody that can attack with planet busting fours, there's no way you can be city level and hang in there, right? Or unless the person retarded and holding all his power back, which they're not. You know, these games have high stakes. So that's why that's important to figure out how strong is the people they actually fight, to really get an understanding of how strong they actually are, not just analyzing his feats alone. Why am I saying all this, you ask? Because there's a super powerful being known as Mundus, which is pretty important when it comes to finding out the lore of these characters, because Dante has fought characters like this. You're probably going to see me bring this guy up a lot of times in this video. There's actually like two evidently different timelines for Mundus, one of them being stronger than he was before, which is the original one is all debatably in the universal ranges as well, but let me get to that in a bit. And then you got beings like Argo Sax in this verse, overpowered as crap, very important for the scaling of the characters in this universe as well. A being that should be comparable to the almighty Mundus, they even label him as almighty. They say that a lot, even in Devil May Cry 5. This is the same being that's causing the human world and demon world to fuse.
The world is already warmed. Everything that belongs to the devils will eventually revert to its original form. Even you will betray your upbringing and turn on the humans. Accept it.
More lore for you right here. And the light became the domain of mortals. The darkness became the realm of demons. They were split. These two worlds existed together at what seemed like an eternity. The universe would eventually split in two. But even to the primordial existence, there came a ray of light, unending darkness of the crucible of chaos. Just the presence of this guy was warping time and space. I'm just giving you an idea of the people in this verse that Dante has to, go against, the top tier demon characters. The time and space were being worked just by this guy's presence, even the past. As you can see here in the actual game. But let's go over some Dante at him being young, shall we? Right fast, and then we're going to get into some more stuff as this video goes by. Hope you guys enjoy. Get your popcorn ready. This is a nice picture to show the evolution of Dante throughout his career. Even though some of these are messed up in the timeline, like Devil May Cry 3 is when he's younger, it's like Star Wars. Some movies come out and this in the past, that type of thing. He can do fun stuff like slashing a pool table in half, play with these minions here, even as younger Dante. Gotta love it. He can casually cause shockwaves to make ripple effects just with his attack power alone, showing he doesn't need his sword. Duh. One of Dante's best aspects is his combat speed, having ridiculous combat speed, being able to react to rockets with ease. He can even catch bullets with his teeth, combat speed, the light work for him. Can bullet timer, easily cuts 4 bullets in half. One of the many fights with Virgil. Such incredible speed. He can kind of destroy a lot of different things with area of effect type of style. Gotta love that type of combat speed, just light work to him. He can even move so fast to where he can catch up to something. Like he can move so fast to where he can kind of ignite the hydrogen in the air, like an aircraft coming into the orbit, like that type of speed. He has that level of actual travel speed or movement speed in general. Massively faster than I can see. He can even dodge a bullet without looking. Not that these even threaten his life. One of his many times fighting his brother Virgil, like in the middle of the battle, he reacts to something even though he's already fighting Virgil. He moves so fast he appears to teleport. Has a pretty straightforward fighting style with the sword. He has his same sword combat skills from his other games, combos and etc. Slicing and dicing when he has to. He's so strong, it's not like he needs sword combat. He has moves to juggle you in the air if he has to get the advantage over you. Like he's actually pretty skilled even though he's just already a physical powerhouse on his own. Blitz attacks just stab the mess out of you, called the million stab. Trickster style. He has different fighting styles, different stances in that way. This is one of his moves in that, the shredder. Even juggle you in the air. Can even throw your sword to you and mess you up and have it come back to you like some type of force ability, and it literally just warps to his back. Hit you like a baseball with combos. Depending on how you play with Dante or in general, he has different moves, like one of them being the trickster. This trickster ability allows him to do very flashy looking stuff. He also has this thing called the magic satchel, like a lot of characters in these verses does. I don't know how he does this, but weapons come out of absolutely nowhere. Some call it the hammer space, whatever you want to call it. Great thing about trickster is that it specializes in evasion techniques, be able to move like a blur, evasion, dancing around your opponent, like dash style. If he wants to, he can just do straight up guards, like the Royal Guard, one of his many stances. This gives you a nice little image of what he's capable of here. Even some standard gear allows him to do, control over time or slow down time. Dante has a ton of different weapons, like the one in Devil May Cry 4, the Rebellion. Everybody knows about the Rebellion. In this game, he also has this weapon called the Gilgamesh. It's like he just gets down and dirty with a straight fist. It's like an excuse for him to use his fist. Charge attacks here, as you can see there, kicks, and all that good stuff. So he can just hit you with straight up hand-to-hand combat style stuff just because he's awesome. He can move his legs in a blur effect. Yeah, he's fast. Just in case you wasn't sure. Booyah. He has these weapons called Lucifer or whatever. He obtained these after beating one of the other bosses. I'm probably going to show you in this video as well. He can shoot these little energy daggers. This kind of reminds you of Virgil's energy attacks that he can just kind of shoot at you and spam. This comes in handy for opponents that you want to keep your distance, but you really want to just mess them up either way. And by the way, on every game, why do video games do this? But where are the weapons from the previous game? Do they just throw them in the ocean or something? They'll be like, okay, the next game come out, let me just throw all my weapons away, course, he got the normal pistols, like he always does. Can even charge his pistols with his energy, his demon energy somehow. Don't ask how. I don't know how he does this, but hey. He even uses his nice little shotgun, probably one of my favorite guns of all time. He can even charge this with his energy abilities. I already showed you Trickster, Dash. He can do like long range attacks, like splits, like splitting the air type of stuff, like that. Can even do more than one of them like that, long range. Can even make shockwaves on the ground with Gilgamesh. And like that. Like, he's actually a legit gunslinger. Like, he can literally shoot his guns in all kinds of directions to help even further his long-range versatility as well. Can shoot his triggers extremely fast, faster than a normal human obviously can. He can just do this with shotgun. He can do it in the air. He makes guns that are not Gatling guns seem like Gatling guns. You know, that type of thing. He even has this weapon called the 6-6 Pandora's Box. He can use it in different ways, like a boomerang. And even a flashing light. Can block attacks, obviously, even in the air. Royal Guard block. Blocks from almost every direction, can react, and even like do a counter. Seems like every game gives him an excuse to use his hand-to-hand if they choose so. I respect that because I like hand-to-hand, I'm not going to lie. He even has this move called the Dreadnought. Wow. In the rare times, he actually has used the Yamato before, Devil May Cry 4. The sword that can slice dimensions, he has his own combos with it in its own right, but he doesn't keep this all the time. This is mostly Virgil's sword. Remember that sword I told you about earlier, Sparta? He actually uses this sword in this game. This big old sword that has some of his power, dad's power in it. Possibly could be one of the reasons why people theorize on him surpassing his father. I'm going to get to that later on in the video, though. He has a lot of the same moves from his other games. They got to add that in there. He has, like, ways of defense.
Like, round trip.
Every game finds an excuse to give him a hand-to-hand combat. Like, these is kind of similar to the Gilgamesh stuff that you got in the other game. But in my opinion, this is even better. You can switch styles. Different type of combos that come in handy. Like, straight-up boxing style. Kicking, yep, as you can see, and he can even hold the stance. Kicks, combos. Yep, that's right. Let me find out if Dante got them leg combos. He even has these weird demon motorcycle weapons you get. It's just absolutely absurd. Absurdity you get in this game, and how you get these is just ridiculous. It's like demon energy fused with a motorcycle created like weapons he can something like how? And he can even ride like a motorcycle and hit the combo on top of that even more. You gotta be kidding me. He even can use element of ice, these super powerful nunchucks, ice nunchucks, like a little blizzard, ice age. Talking about every element you can need. Electricity in these same staffs. Talking about versatility when it comes to the elements, can hit combos. He seems to be well versed in pretty much any weapon he uses. Gotta love it. Insane. Fire as well. And back to Dante's speed right quick. Oh yeah, Death Battle did a real easy calculation for me.
And Virgil obliterated each and every raindrop within a 12-foot radius, briefly creating a completely open space in a rainstorm. Up to 30 raindrops can occupy a cubic foot on average, meaning they destroyed 108,000 raindrops in less than a second. Without any extra abilities or styles, Dante's striking so much space in so little time.
It's already pretty evident that Dante's fast, so thank you for that for Death Battle, even though I don't use all your stuff, but hey, that was a free calculation, don't judge me. Not to mention, Dante can block lasers and react to lasers, so it's implied that Dante has at least fast and light combat speed or speed of light combat when it comes to reaction time and etc. It's implied he can dodge, block, laser, fire, and I just showed you the lore behind this. In his many fights, of course, with Mundus, this overpowered being, he was able to deflect a particle beam, a beam of light, So then there's that. Like I said earlier, these characters have some type of magic satchel or hammer space where they store all these weapons and change them, and they come out of absolutely nowhere. Rebellion is one of his signature weapons throughout the series. This was a weapon wielded by Dante's father, the Forced Edge, the Alistair weapon. These gauntlets known as Ifrit, which utilize fire. They always have some type of gauntlet where they have an excuse to punch people with fists. These devil arms, he can shoot out Dante's demonic energy with these. These weapons known as the Cerberus, Artemis, like these demon guns, these type of weapons, the Agni and Rudra. They have the power of fire and shoot tornado like Gus out. Nevine, which is like a demonic guitar. Electricity is the main form of his attack. Like he could just use pretty much all the main elements. Then you got the Beowulf. By the way, these can actually absorb like organic material and turn them into metal. Displayed here with his 1-inch punch ability. I love how he got these weapons. The design of them looks dope. How he just specializes in them and gives us a rundown of what he can do with the 1-inch punch like bruise. Lead, light work. Rocket launchers from his friend. Common misconception is that Dante cannot be killed. I wouldn't say he cannot be killed. He's just extremely hard to kill because of his healing factor and regeneration, that type of thing. I mean, in Devil May Cry 5, there was several implications throughout that game that he could be killed, but it's just really hard to be killed. Like, you know, it wouldn't be no threat if he never could be killed. You know what I mean? That's why he's blocking or all that craziness. It's implied that his heart might be his weakness, like because he told him that, you know, try to avoid hitting his heart. For example, he's actually been knocked out by being impaled, temporarily incapacitated, that is. As you can see here. He didn't die though, but yeah, he was out of commission though. So it implied that it did do some damage to enough to put him to sleep, right? Powerful demons that look like his mama for some reason, like Trish. Lightning can hurt him. Yeah, of course, he's stronger than characters like Trish, by the way, just in case you were curious of that.
Sparta turned against his demon brethren and took up his sword for the sake of mankind. Despite his brave efforts in our age.
Other demon characters like Nero, for example, Dante has actually fought these type of characters. He's kind of like a novice when it comes to the demon type of thing, but he's still ridiculously fast and strong, etc. Dante's been shown to kind of like toy with these type of characters, and he's strong in his own right. It's actually ridiculous how casual Dante was in this game. He just never seemed like he tried no part in none of the cutscenes, like Roadhouse. Look at the reaction speed here. I love this little light work for him. Everything is so casual to him. Just getting the reaction of these guys' combat speed. Look how he reloads his gun right here. Nero's no slouch when it comes to speed himself. Look at it. Look how he reloaded it mid-air. Like how? Dante moves fast enough. I can see even that quick reload he did. He was already in a different section, toying with him, it seems. It's a nice battle of swordsmanship.
So, you're looking to play, huh? Alright, I guess I got some time to kill.
You see how he's so casual? It seems like nothing is really like a threat to him after all of that. As you can see here. I don't want to show too many durability feats for Dante in this video, like, because there's a million times he got impaled. I don't think y'all already know that. I'm just. Speaking of Dante, when I said he was holding back, I wasn't playing when I said he was holding back. He has different modes. Got impaled right there. And seems to be okay. He can literally use his hand like a hammer. It's implied that he's immune to hellfire, evidently. It doesn't seem like it does any work against this boss named Burial. Trolls him. All these super type demons, this demon, for example, I think can change the weather to a degree, which takes at least city level amount of power. Seems to troll these demons throughout this game over and over again.
Glad I got your attention. I was beginning to feel a little ignored.
Lets himself get eaten, showing that they're just not on his level. Like, they're literally fodder to him. He like uses them as sports just to mess around. Literally light work. He's just too strong for them. But look, he's just casual. Same thing with the giant toad looking thing. He's too fast, faster than that demon could see. As you can see, just toying around with these creatures. Yet again, this ice elemental. And Roadhouse. I just literally showed you this a second ago.
You can stay and die, or you can walk your own.
He pretty much threatened him, like, you can stay and die or you can leave. This guy really tried to mess with Dante. Get murked. Trolls another demon boss. Like, these guys are literally nothing to him. This is getting pathetic, man.
How can there be such a difference between us? You surrendered your humanity. It's that simple. But you are not human. So why am I inferior? You assume humans are weak. Okay, yeah, their bodies lack the physical ability of a demon. What is it the demons lack? Please, for the sake of my research, please tell me.
Dude is literally begging.
No. If you're gonna continue your research in the next room. No.
Stylish ways of getting murked. Literally fighting this giant savior being. As you can see. Crazy part is, this is him older, but I'm like his past accomplishments in the past games, like Mundus and all those creatures I'm about to get into in a little bit, it makes these look like light work to him to really show his legacy and power throughout the years. Look at his aim and accuracy, by the way.
Then you gotta take it out from the inside.
Speed. And yeah, Dante is that strong. This giant savior being. See that? Yeah, I've showed you some Dante stuff, but the real meat on the table of what makes him really strong is this character known as Mundus. He actually fought this character known as Mundus when he was actually in the younger days of himself, when he had some of the power of Sparta and all that great stuff. And that's crazy. He did that in the past. I mean, one can theorize that he's even above that now. He's even older now. Man.
Show yourself, Mundus.
Just like I created Trish.
Silence!
Oh, silly me. Before I get to that, I'm going to consider that in a bit. I forgot about the different modes I told you about. Of course, you got the base form Dante where he's pretty much heavily suppressed, but when he wants to go all out, he can do another form known as Devil Trick. Everything he can do times whatever. Like, he going all out in this form and he does this. Pretty much do anything he can normally do, but heightened to another degree. It's like Super Saiyan form for him, right? He was even able to do this back in the day. He actually fought Mundus himself, the almighty being. It's implied that he can at least harm beings like Mundus, or there wouldn't be a boss battle, or it wouldn't be possible to beat him in the actual game's cutscenes after you fight him, right? Energy blast, energy projection for Dante, and all that good stuff. They seem to be in another dimension at this point as well. Could have teleported them somewhere. It's like a multiple panel long fight.
Looks like we have a winner.
Jackpot. Goodbye. And when you do come back, give my regards to my son, will ya?
It only gets crazier because you guys remember characters like Virgil, right, from Devil May Cry 5. This guy's comparable to Dante in every way. They're like rivals, his twin brother, right? Man, this guy was a problem in Devil May Cry 5. This is after all of these events. Dante should be as strong as those events or even higher. And the fact that Dante was struggling against him throughout this entire game and the different modes he had in this entire game was absolutely crazy. Not to mention, Dante actually got a power-up on top of this. So at this point, one can even theorize that Dante is stronger now than he was in those past games where he defeated Mundus, which is crazy. After his defeat, the world threatened to collapse. The underworld was evidently collapsing just from Mundus's defeat. Evidently, his presence can cause that much of a... Well, that's like a whole dimension to collapsing. Like, really? More lore for that right here and more proof. It says Dante defeats Mundus and prepares to escape from the collapsing underworld. Oh my gosh, this is a huge statement right here. It says, but not even demonic rulers rivaling the power of Mundus can match Dante's strength. It literally pretty much confirmed Mundus that Dante is above Mundus. And even beings like Argosax is not even on the level, or it could match Dante's strength completely. Dante is slightly above them back in these days. It's like a recap of Devil May Cry 5 history. So they definitely are saying the other past games are canon. Think of Argosax like literally having abstract existence, like being an embodiment of an aspect, who is basically despair personified, like the literal aspect of despair, like what comparable to the almighty Mundus. There was this powerful sorcerer in Devil May Cry 2 who wanted to release Ergo Sax, and he used his mystical abilities by gathering artifacts, and that's how he was able to do so, and all that stuff, so he can become an immortal sorcerer, type of powerful, all-powerful being. People in their greed and wanting to do stuff the way they like. Literally moved the moon after his powers were released. These beings are on this level. I just showed you all that madness, right? Dante has a legacy. He's a legendary demon hunter, defeating the abstract-like beings from the past Mundus and even Ergo Sax, those type of beings, moving the moon with his power being released. Dante overpowering Mundus himself, straight up fighting him. And these are before he gets his new form known as the Sin Devil Trigger, which was in Devil May Cry 5. Proof that all those feats still count towards this same Dante from Devil May Cry 5 is that the fact that even in the beginning of Devil May Cry 5, they pretty much talk about the events from the past, showing that those are still canon.
Power was activated in me once, when Virgil lovingly jammed this through my chest. I always wondered, why did my father give me the rebellion? Okay, what are you muttering? Over the years, I've been stabbed and jabbed by a number of things. But who would have ever guessed? If the Yamato can separate man from devil, then what about the rebellion? Wow. You are absorbing the Sparta.
Giving him another form, making him even more stronger than he was before. When it comes to video game characters, one of the best ways to get an idea of how strong the character actually is to see how he interacts with the characters he fights in the cutscenes. Is he afraid of the boss? Is he joking around with the boss? Does he treat the boss like the boss is lightweight? Dante's one of those characters where pretty much in Devil May Cry 5, the only character he really took seriously was Urizen, aka Virgil, transformed and ate the fruit and all that crazy stuff. That's the only being he really had any worries with. Other beings just seemed like a joke to him. He didn't really take them seriously. You can get an idea of how strong they are based on that. And most of these characters he was joking around with, this is before he had the Sin Devil Trigger, the Devil Trigger ×2 basically. Even super strong bosses like Angelo Cavalier seem like a joke to him. See, he doesn't really take them seriously.
That costume looks a little big. I thought you had better taste than that. How about I take it in a little?
Dante has the sword of Sparta in this situation.
Sorry. I don't know.
The result of this boss battle actually gave Dante some new epic weapons, like this demonic powered motorcycle he created off of pieces of Cavalier Angelo from this. And like, how does this work again with physics? Bonding with stuff, and Trish was inside of it, which is why this being was even powerful in the first place. Gets blitzed. And if Trish didn't look so much like his mama, he probably would try to flirt with her. But, you know, since that's kind of weird for him. Hey, yo, have you ever thought about that? Imagine dating a girl that looks exactly like your mom. Like, I'm sorry, I couldn't even date her. Like, I couldn't. That's just me. You know that creature you see a lot in the God of War games, the three-headed dog? The Sybaris. Well, evidently Dante fought the king of them in this verse. It actually exists. Kind of trolls with this thing as well, showing the level of power Dante's at. Like I said, you can get an idea of how strong a boss is based on how the character interacts with it. This Sybaris seemed to be able to use pretty much hot element and cold elements, which is pretty epic. And he can use lightning as well, just in case you forgot. Then we get this epic montage of this new weapon he actually gets. Gots to freaking love it. Portraying all the different elements it got, like I showed. I know I repeat things in this video, but I like enjoying and talking about it. It makes it longer and more enjoyable to talk about. does that with his attack power. That's a feat as well, right? You have really no choice but to respect Dante at this point. I know I can't be the only one that's angry about Virgil not being playable. This guy's whole plan of the game was to get resurrected, split himself two in halves, get reunited with himself, and become more powerful than he was before, which is the reason why Dante even needed the Devil Trigger ×2 in the first place. There's this thing called the Quillipith tree, which you probably seen during the Devil May Cry 5 game. You're probably wondering, why is this important for scaling? Well, this was all a part of Virgil's plan to eat a fruit from this tree. Think of it like the Tree of Might from Dragon Ball Z. It's sucking the nutrients out of things, and when it's fully nourished, when you eat the fruit, you can get divine power. It was stated by Trish, the last edict was the almighty Mundus, that being I showed you in this, I'm gonna show you, or showed you in this video already, who was a threat to a universe and timelines, meaning that could put Virgil in the Mundus levels of power, right? Which would mean Dante would be in them levels of power as well, right?
The Devil Sword Sparta no longer serves a purpose. What is Urizen after?
He's at the top of the Glyphod.
It's the other way around, Dante. This is the lowest level of the Glyphod's upper echelon. Human blood is the source of demons' power. The fruit born through the Glyphod is even more dense than the blood that created it. Its power is unparalleled. Even the almighty Mundus used it to become king of the underworld. The almighty Mundus used it to become king of the underworld. The almighty Mundus used it to become king of the underworld. Avid told me everything.
Yep, you heard it himself. Glyphod root. I know I've been saying the name wrong. Don't judge me. I just forgot how you said it when I ain't played this game in a while. Don't judge me. Glyphod root instead of Plikoth. I called it Plikoth. Yeah. Then there's that. Knowing that the lore is still continued from the old games. Yeah, Virgil ate a fruit that Mundus used to become the king of the underworld, which made him a ridiculous threat, collapsing the underworld, and all that crazy stuff. And Dante's basically his equal. So there was basically this demon known as Urizen, who was basically Virgil in disguise without even knowing it, and he was very powerful. Even Dante had trouble with him and all that crazy stuff. He was kind of soloing everybody, including powerful characters like Nero, which I'm going to get to probably in another video.
That's the name of the demon that took your arm.
He was so powerful, even Dante in his Devil Trigger form, which should be above the one he used to fight Mundus, was still able to do this to Dante, like depower him and stuff like that. But his new Devil Trigger form was quite differently for Dante. Man, no telling how powerful he's at this point, but I'm willing to guess he might be above his father at this point. I mean, shoot, he already defeated Mundus back in the day, and he's even higher now, got a new power up, fighting this amped up Virgil. Not to mention he has the new Devil Sword Dante. This is another weapon to pretty much improve on his lore he's already had. As you can see here, totally new level of power. Long story short, Virgil got another power-up, I know, again, to really reclaim his true form. He ate like this special fruit, I can't even say the name right, which grants, like, Virgil and Dante at this point are just like, man, they're just probably the strongest beings in the universe at this point. I mean, we know how strong Mundus was back in the day, but guys, these guys keep on making upgrades and upgrades after upgrades. It was pretty much weird. Virgil was separated into man and demon, this being, yeah, he was separated all this time, and plot twist. Pretty much Virgil the whole time. Then when they collided, then the true might came and Virgil in the building. Just straight up epicness. Yeah, he can summon it at will now.
How many times have we fought?
Oh yeah, by the way, Virgil does have a up-to-date Devil Trigger as well that can rival his Dante's Sin Devil Trigger.
Time we ended this.
For the most part, you can't really give a straight up answer on who's above who at this point. I mean, in their base forms, they're pretty close in power. Dante's gotten upgrades, Virgil's gotten upgrades, eating that special fruit. Virgil got the new Sin Devil trigger. Dante got the new Sin Devil trigger. They're both older and they seem to still be a match, even though they're way stronger than what they was in the past via upgrades. And I just showed you the upgrade he got in Devil May Cry 5. They even recall the events from the older games to prove that the upgrades are still canon to this new game's lore. He got a new weapon, the Devil Sword, which he can just summon out of his body pretty much. They're pretty much rivals that will always be comparable to each other in every way. They fight the demons together like a brother-friendly rivalry. Gotta love it. So what's the final tally on how strong Dante is after all of this stuff I just showed you? Considering his fights with Mundus, Ergo Sax that can move a moon, I would say bare minimum Dante and characters like this has to be in the Planet Plus ranges, or one could even be able to say the Solar System ranges. And if you use the scale to Mundus being universal threat and stuff like that, he could be galactic. I mean, it's really hard to gauge, but I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, he is ridiculously strong at this point. It's really up for your interpretation, how strong you think. I'm just here to provide information. I totally think it's possible for him to be in universal ranges of power. I totally think it's possible for him to be galactic, but I think for sure, I think we all can agree he's at least planet busting level or above, right? That's fair. Like, that's like an extreme low ball, you know what I mean? Virgil. Dante was pretty much able to duplicate all the feats of his dad, pretty much. Seemingly didn't get none of the powers taken away after he absorbed power from Sparta sword as well. But that could just be me overfishing it. What do you guys think? Put your comments down below. Let me know what you all think. Check out those playlists, description below. Description for more stuff like this. I mean, just the fact that Dante and Virgil are still rivals after all the power-ups that Virgil got in this game. He ate the fruit. He got like his body split into demon form and human form. Then he got them fused together. Then got a power from his son Nero. Dante's still able to match him after all of that. And I've already shown you what Dante can do with Mundus in them. It's just so much. Is Dante could possibly one of the strongest video game characters up there with Kratos and Azura. That's just me though. What do you guys think? Did you guys know Dante was this strong? You might have didn't. You probably thought he was like city busting level at best. I think that's just a joke. I think he's way above that. But what do you guys think? Video game mechanics cannot be put into consideration. Just because you see him fighting and he has to do puzzles, you can't use that to lowball him. I say that in every video game video. But what do you guys think? I'm doing more video game content. Playlist description. Make sure you binge watch my channel and just take a scroll through my channel, see what else I got to offer. I got a lot of stuff to offer. Make sure you post your comments down below. Let me know what you all think. I can't say that enough. I'll see you guys next time. Respect, Dante, Sparta. Maybe I'll do more Devil May Cry videos if you guys enjoy this. Let me know if you want to see more videos like this. I'll keep you posted. Let's get it.